Sand and Storm, Moonfire Trilogy Book 1, written and narrated by Patty Jansen. Chapter 1. The weather station stood by the side of the road, a tiny hut, once painted white, but now a dust-stained yellow, surrounded by a rolling stubble field that disappeared into the hazy horizon. "There you are," Pashtan said. He let the reins rest, and the two donkeys came to a halt. The cart stopped with its usual creaking and groaning. Javez gathered his equipment and jumped off the front bench. His boots, when they hit the ground, threw up little clouds of dust. Over the past few weeks, they had gone from dark brown, polished leather to smudged grey. Mother would kill him when he came home, and as the end of his field assignment neared, that thought occurred to him more often. Home, where he could go back to being a try-hard, and sitting in the back of the class, being laughed at by the fellow students. Yes, he dreaded that time. There was the prick Roland, who had been boasting about going to so many, Yoshi, who was going to Twin Bridges, and Branto and Sienna, who had both scored assignments on the coast. Even Lana, who was going to work for the library in Tiberias, and had clearly been disappointed with her placement, had a more interesting job than his. Yet in one way he didn't mind. For one, no one here knew who he was. He trudged across the dry gravel road to the weather station, checked for scorpions, as Pashtan had told him he should always do, undid the latch and opened the door. The station wasn't big enough to step inside, with each side barely as wide as a man. The door was long and tall, and needed to be secured against the wind, lest it blow shut on him and injure his hands or damage the equipment. There were no scorpions inside the shady den, but a legion of spiders had woven together all the equipment inside. The barograph was barely visible under the silk. Wow! He used the corner of his notebook to push aside the white filaments. The owner of the web scurried behind the power board that held the connection plugs to the telegraph line that he'd been assured was going to be built in the future. Ew, he hated spiders. Javez folded out the shelf that formed a little work table and secured it with a piece of metal that was neatly stowed on the inside of the door for that purpose. He lifted the barograph machine from the bottom shelf onto the table, took out the roll, unscrewed the rings.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?